throwing your bat and jogging down the line is an easy way to get yourself written off. You hit that same ground ball, you try to beat it out. Like, someone, it might not get you drafted, it might not get you to the next level, but it might bring that guy back to watch you one more time and give you an opportunity to showcase your talent. So I would say just remember someone's always watching.
Kevin Pillar with us here with the Baseball Playground. Thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate it. I mean, what an exciting day. Obviously, I'm Matt McGowan. This is Jacob Odell. Kevin, we're on this whole program is about young players trying to figure out what the next step is, right? And you being probably the most famous Division II athlete that we can find, right? I mean, going, like you say, 32nd round to the show, what would you say to these young players that are saying, oh, it's D1 or nothing? Division II is not where it's at. I mean, you were a guy who started as a freshman at Cal State Dominguez Hills and took off from there.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back earlier than that. I just didn't really know what I want to do with my life. Even through high school, I just enjoyed sports. I enjoyed doing all different sorts of things as a kid. I liked wakeboarding. I liked going on vacations. I liked snowboarding. I liked, I played tennis and golf. I did everything. So, when it kind of fully committed to baseball, and I hadn't really, put myself out there a whole lot in terms of like showcases or going to, Division I schools workouts to prove that I could play at that level. For me, it was about just going out and playing. I felt like, I didn't necessarily have a ton of D1 offers to choose from, but there was places I could have gone. There was definitely places I could have walked on, but I made a choice that I just wanted to play. I felt like I couldn't get better sitting on the bench, so I chose a different route. I chose to go D2 so that I could go in and play right away and kind of figure out what kind of baseball player I was and naturally take the next step from high school to college and have more competition. But I felt like I wasn't going to get better sitting on the bench. I know some people choose that route. They want to do that route. They want to go D1. They're okay sitting out redshirting where they're okay, not starting and maybe waiting for senior to play out getting time and kind of learning as I go.
Yeah, I think that's a huge point of not going D1 and kind of just playing the game that we all love to play more so than anything because practices are fun, but games are more fun, right?
Yeah, I
And
mean, there's only so much you can learn about yourself in practice. Obviously, you get a ton better in practice, but practice is, essentially getting you ready to play a game. It's doing all your studying, and then you got to take the test. And if I'm only getting a chance to study and I never get to take the test, I never could figure out, what kind of player I am. And also like people forget too, like I could have left Dominguez Hills. I could have left after my freshman year. I had opportunities to leave. You don't have to be there, for all 4 years. In my mind, essentially, I was going to use Dominguez Hills as a junior college. I could have chosen the junior college route, but I wasn't thinking about the end goal of baseball. I was thinking end goal of life, and I wanted to get my education. And I felt like if baseball worked out great, I'm going to give everything I got. But I felt like if I went to a junior college, I had heard horror stories about, not necessarily taking the right courses and being eligible to transfer to schools and maybe having to retake classes. So I felt like if I can go to Dominguez Hills and start my journey to get my four year degree, and if baseball, really took off, I could have transferred, I could have left. At that point, I maybe could have sat out and transferred, or I could have been granted my release from the coach at Dominguez Hills. But um, I like being there. It wasn't the place that I envisioned myself going. It wasn't the place I dreamed about going, but I was having success. I enjoyed the coaches I was around. I enjoyed my teammates. think it also helped that I saw, a couple guys when I was a freshman, juniors, getting drafted. So I was like, well, what's it matter if they're getting drafted? Then why would I have to leave? It was 40 minutes house, and my parents could come watch me play all the time. So those are all different things that I look on, and I could a different route, but like I'm really happy with the end result. I'm my wife there, so it's about getting opportunity and making the most of it, not about going to a place that's sexy and I mean I guess now with NIL it's a little different. You can make some money doing it, but it's about playing. It's hard to get seen if you're sitting on the bench.
Yeah, definitely. Are you? I always have this thought that surrounding yourself with the better people to learn from is just a huge advantage to get ahead of the competition with things. Now, motivating yourself is one thing, but when you have, say, a group of guys that you're all working together on the same goal of achieving, playing a higher end baseball, what is it like for you and for somebody else to start networking in a way with other guys that are better than them so that they can get better?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I would say that kind of came to fruition probably my junior year, and two of my roommates that were a year older than me, their senior years, and I think we had put in our time. I think we were really committing. At that point, we were having some success and we were getting some looks, and the three of us were really pushing ourselves to try to get to the next level, and that started with a lot of playing summer ball and working out in the off season and instead of us going back home to like our parents' house, we stayed in the house that we were renting year round and trained and fortunately one of them got drafted and didn't make it very far but got a little bit of an opportunity to play professional baseball and one ended up with a hamstring injury that kind of cost him his shot of maybe getting to the next level. But surrounding yourself with good people, like-minded people, is so important. We all had big dreams. We all held each other accountable. We all pushed each other to be great. Um, I know that I'm not. I know that I didn't get here alone. I know that those guys played a big part in it. I know that my coaches at Dominguez Hills played a big part of it. My teammates. I mean, you can go down the line from Little League, different people I've encountered throughout my baseball career. My parents, my older brother and his friends, pushing me to be great all the time and trying to fit in. So just always, I think that's more important than the school that you go to, and just finding people that think like you and dream like you. And I think anything's possible.
Yeah, I think you couldn't have said it better. Knowing Murph Sua and knowing the guys that you were surrounded with, I think everyone knew that players were going to be prepared for the next level, no matter, if it was, pro baseball, if it was independent ball, or heck, if it was slow pitch softball. But talk about that preparation and the mindset that those coaches instilled, because a D2 program does produce guys that play pro baseball. I mean, the statistics are there. Just talk about the preparation and how you felt. Did you feel you were prepared for the pro level as soon as you got out of college?
I think quality of competition is it's naturally a little bit of a step down. But I think getting the opportunity to go play in some of these summer leagues, opened my eyes to it really wasn't that big of a difference. I mean, occasionally you're going to face guys that were throwing harder and better stuff, but from a skill position player standpoint, like when I went and played summer ball, being a D2 guy and playing with guys that went to UCLA and Irvine and Fullerton, like all I didn't feel undermatched or overmatched. I didn't feel less of a player than them. But I will say, like the one, not the one thing, a thing that Murphy Stewart did good at Dominguez Hills, and I guess most colleges is. And looking back, you think, why the hell did we do all this stuff from chalking the field to getting there early and pulling the tarp to Indian runs and all these stupid little things, but the one thing I found when I got to pro ball is there is a wide variety of different skill levels there. Mine not being the best of the guys that I played with, but one of the few guys that did make it to the big leagues because I understood that there was more than just skills to separate yourself on the baseball field. There was the accountability, there was the hustle, there was doing things right, there was showing up on time, there was putting extra work. And I credit a lot of that to, all the things I look back on and like, why the hell did we have to do this stuff at Dominguez Hills? Like, you just did it without question because that's what needed to be done. And, when you're given a task to do or an order to do, you just do it. If your coaches want you to wear a collared shirt to the field in pro ball, you wear a collared shirt to the field. You don't argue it, you don't question it, you just do it. And I found, especially with how difficult Murphy Sua was at Dominguez Hills with a lot of that stuff, I felt like just being able to be a guy that was accountable, that was going to do the right thing, was going to show up on time, was going to wear the right things, provided me opportunities to showcase my skill. Because I think initially when you get to pro ball, people don't like to say it or people don't like to think it, but naturally your guys that get drafted earlier get more opportunity than guys that get drafted less. The joke is guys like me really only get drafted so the guys in the first 10 rounds have someone to play against, but like I figured out that they might be more skilled than me, but like I do a lot of things on the field equally as good to them, but like how was I going to earn opportunity? And it came through a lot of those things. And that's not saying I was, kissing ass or like begging for playing time. I just did the right thing. And ultimately my play allowed me to get more playing time. But I think doing those little things gave me opportunity to go out there and play.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will ever say you got out hustled. That's for sure. I mean, you're a guy that, grinded your way up and I mean, just watching your career, you've seen how bad you wanted it and how bad you still want it. Preparing yourself mentally, I feel, is a huge thing. Obviously, in baseball, confidence is king. Um, what would you tell? What advice would you give a young baseball player that maybe doesn't have the confidence or just kind of doesn't know where his path is? Like kind of like what you said, you didn't know what you wanted to do. What would you tell that guy? What would you tell yourself if you were a senior in high school?
Baseball is really hard. You're going to fail a lot. I never lose sight of that too. Like I sit here now and think it's great. I've been, working out and working on my swing and doing all these things. And I'm like, damn, in like 4 or 5 weeks, I'm gonna have to face live pitching, and that shit is real. Like it's hard. Those guys are really, really good, and like you're gonna fail a lot, but like just understanding that you got to control what you can control in this game. And there's certain things that I know that I can control when I step in the box. And one of which is being confident, trusting the work that I put in, trusting my swing, controlling my heartbeat, understanding what pitch I want to attack. And then the rest from there is literally up to the man upstairs. Like you can put a good swing on it, you can make outs, you can put a bad swing on it, get hits. Like, I think that's the thing that I think we all lose sight of is that it's supposed to be easy. It's not. It's very difficult. Um, as far as what I tell myself, like looking back, is enjoy the ride. And when you commit, be all in. Like, I think there's a certain time when you gotta make that decision that I want to be all in. I'm not saying that needs to be at 8 years old. For me, it was freshman year of college. For some people, it might be sooner, but like when you make that decision, be all in, commit to it, um, and understand that not everyone's gonna get there. Like just because you didn't make it doesn't mean your journey was a failure. There's a lot of other great things that can come out of it. A lot of great relationships. Um, I'm sure both of you guys had dreams and aspirations to play in the big leagues, and now you guys get to talk baseball. You guys got a great thing going on here, so like a lot of great things come out of it. Um, and baseball is also about networking and relationships too. You're gonna meet a lot of people. You never know who you're gonna meet. You never know who you're gonna come across, who you can become friends with. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think so many people want it right now. Like I'm gonna get it right now, but like it's a long journey. It's a long road, and some of it's out of your control. But I think doing the little things every day add up. Um, and
Definitely.
my biggest thing is just every time you're on the field, just understand someone's watching. You got an opportunity to prove yourself every single time you're on the field. Um, never take that for granted. All it takes is one day for someone to write you off, and all it takes is one day for someone to believe in you. And all it really takes is one person to believe in you. I think that's what happened to me. I mean, I was a 32nd round draft pick. I got passed up by 30 teams 32 times, 32 plus times. And there was a gentleman by the name of Kevin Fox, a local scout, local Toronto Blue Jay scout in the Southern California area, believed I could play. And I don't know if he believed I could be a big leaguer. I mean, he tells me that all the time. I knew you were a big leaguer, but we know that's not the truth. He thought I deserved an opportunity, and he gave me that opportunity, and I made the most of it. So all it takes is one time. You can ruin it one time, and you can make it in one time. So that's why I just tell people to consistently just be you and play the game the right way. And I think playing the right way will reward you opportunities to advance in this game.
That's awesome. So we talked about confidence and, whether you're in the box or playing on the field, right? But how was your routine and how important was a routine for you, whether you were in the box or on the field?
I think routine is very important. I think routine often turns to superstition, and I don't think that's all that bad either. But understanding, I mean, I'm not going to change. I'm not necessarily going to change something because I'm not going to change something if I'm rolling and things are going well. Like we all tend to get a little superstitious, but I try to separate. At the end of the day, I try to separate like I was doing the same thing intentionally or unintentionally, and that was the reason I was getting results. I'm just a big believer in preparing myself every single day. I think routine is good. I think sometimes it can be a crutch. I would say my routine is fairly vague. Like I don't like take the same amount of swings in the cage. I don't do like the same drills in the cage. Like my routine is more about am I prepared? Like my routine's more about getting my body prepared and my mind prepared more than doing X, Y, and Z in the cage or X, Y, and Z in the field. Like I'm big on like if my swing's working and it's doing well, like it's very simple in the cage. It's more like preparation, get ready. Maybe I hit some fastballs or breaking balls on the machine. I take BP. If my swing is doing something, I have my go-to routines and my drills to get my swing back to where it needs. I have certain things that I want to do in the field to prepare. If I'm, not playing all the time, or if I am playing time and I need to work on something. So I think routine can be really good, but I think routine can be a crutch sometimes too. But I would say for me, my routine is just making sure that I'm prepared more physically than mentally. If my body feels good, um, mentally I'm gonna feel good, and I know that's not gonna happen every day. But I got to make sure my body feels as good as possible to go out there and play.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's the craziest routine? What's the craziest routine you've seen from a player you played with?
Craziest routine. So, I mean, I would say Jose Batista and Justin Smoke had like a very consistent approach to the stuff they would do in the weight room before they would go to the cage, like more so than anyone I'd ever seen. And it didn't even involve working out. It was like foam rolling and trigger pointing and stretching and like mobility stuff. Like I learned a lot from watching those guys and then being their teammates and friends, like things that I've adopted into my preparation every day. But those guys were like, whatever time the cage opened, it was like 30 or 40 minutes before. Like those guys were in there, whether it was a 7 o'clock game, 6 o'clock game, 1 o'clock game, 12 o'clock getaway day. Like they were really good at doing that. Jose, Jose, like learned that over the course of his career. Like he got really in tune with his body and understanding what it needed to perform at the highest level. Smokey's body just worked a little bit differently. Like he just needed to do it to physically get out on the field. But that just shows you like two ends of the spectrum. Like both guys prepared and both guys were successful.
We talk about focal point a lot on the show of whether you're in the box or on the field. Did you have a focus point when you were looking at a pitcher, whether it was, their shoulder, their hat, their nose? A lot of people talk about focal points when they're checking out a pitcher. Did you have any?
I would say like I'm more of like a hard focus, soft focus guy. Like I'm generally looking in the area of the pitcher. Um, and then really just trying to identify his release point is like the main area that I focus. Yeah, but like I mean, I would say generally speaking, like initially it's more about like the hands because I feel like once the guy separates his hands, whether they're out of the stretch or out of the windup is usually a pretty good time where I want to like narrow in on where that release point is, and that goes back to preparation of what isn't seen. For most people, they think we just roll out there and play, or maybe they don't think we roll out there and play, but like a lot of that's done the night before. After a game, we're getting home, you're already starting to think about who's starting the next day and starting to watch a video, whether it's your at bats against him or his last two starts, and subconsciously you're starting to pick up release point where it's at, and then you have meetings about it, and yeah, so it's for me, it's always been about not trying to identify the release point too early, but just having this like general, soft, relaxed focus about his movements and just kind of being in sync with him, and then really trying to lock in on the release point.
Give me a day in the life of Kevin Pillar on a game day.
Like, well,
From
now that
morning
I,
from
now that
morning to night.
now that I have kids, it's different. Now that I have kids, it's different, and um, I'll give you a very generic answer. I mean, but obviously it depends on like where do we live? Where am I, like what team am I playing on? Am I on the road or am I at home? If I'm at home, let's just say I'm at home, and the last time I really played, I was at home and I was in New York. We lived in an apartment. So we get up, the one thing that I do a really good job of, and I made a promise to my wife, is I get a ton of sleep on the road. That's my time to like be by myself. I may take a little bit longer to unwind after a game on the road. I may sit in my room, watch TV, watch movies, do whatever I'm gonna do, hang out with my teammates, go to bed a little bit later, so I sleep in a lot longer. But at home, unless I'm getting home at like 4 a.m. from like a road trip, if I'm getting home at midnight, 12:30 from a game, um, I'm up with the kids. I might be on a 10-day road trip. So I haven't seen my kids in 10 days. I get up with them. We have breakfast as a family, whether that's in our apartment or house, whatever we're living in, or we'll go out to breakfast. And then we do some sort of activity, park, mostly parks or whatever we're going to do, just hang out with kids. And then, usually home by 12 o'clock. Uh, kids have lunch. I start to kind of unwind a little bit, kind of zone out a little bit, play with the kids, relax, hop in the car around 1, get to the field by 1:30, have lunch. If any treatment's necessary, do treatment. If no treatment's necessary, then I go to the weight room and I go through my first set of movements and getting my body loose. 3, 4, 5 times a week I'll work out pregame, get my workout in, and then head to the cage. Do your routine in there, whatever you need to get ready. That's usually followed by a hitters meeting, talking about the starting pitcher that day. If it's the first game of the series, then you're going to talk about the starting pitcher. Then you're going to go through the bullpen. And then you got a little bit of time to kind of relax, and then you're out on the field for stretch and BP. If there's any defensive work, you can choose to do that like in that window where you're kind of hanging out. You can go out there and get early work, or you can do your defensive work during BP. Then you're usually done. So that's like 4. You're usually off the field by 5 because the visiting team starts like 5 to 6. about right. So then you got 2 hours of the game, and that's usually if you come in, hang out for a little bit, go have I wouldn't call it, I guess, dinner, but or no pregame meal, go eat a little bit, take a shower, change, and then back in the weight room, getting your body ready to go again, and then back to the cage for a couple swings, and then out on the line maybe 20, 15 minutes before the national anthem, getting loose, and just do that every single day, over
That's
and over
awesome.
and over and over again.
How was like your dieting with everything, and whether you guys had somebody on staff helping you out, of course, making sure that you guys are always fed. But I want to go more into like the college versus the MLB advice for somebody that wants to, get stronger, get leaner, and actually be more athletic, whether that's just through food.
Oh, I can only speak on like what I experienced at Dominguez Hills. We had nothing even close to that, and you were. I wouldn't even say like I would say I tried. I wasn't the guy who was like eating fast food all the time. I learned how to like cook and do certain things. And when I was living on my own, I was trying to make a lot of my own meals. But looking back on them, like most of them, I wouldn't make for myself now. But like you read things or you see things, online, or you like read a health and fitness magazine. It's like just eat rice and chicken, all this stuff, and you're like, okay, it can't be all that wrong, but when you get to the major leagues and you have, professional dietitians and nutritionists and strength and conditioning, and now a lot of teams have high performance departments that have to do like oversee all that, and that includes like hydration and rest and recovery, and they have all these different modalities, whether it's things hooking up to like your brains or wearing aura rings or whoops, or like tracking all your movements throughout the day, telling you how you should train, how you should recover. Like it can be very it as you want it to be, or there's still guys that just don't care. They just go out there and do their thing. I'm a guy that, if I have the resources and I feel like they're going to help me and allow me to play this game a year or 2 or 3 longer than if I didn't follow advice, I'm going to do it. I wouldn't say like I don't enjoy myself. Like I eat well, I sleep well, recover well, but like, I'm not I don't have like the strictest diet on the face of the earth. If my kids want to order pizza on a Wednesday night, like I understand like me having pizza, once every 2 weeks or once a week is not going to kill me.
Right.
I still enjoy myself. I enjoy life. On the weekends, if I have some friends over, like my parents are in town, I want to have a couple of drinks, I'm gonna have a couple of drinks. If it's a Tuesday and the kids have been crazy and me and my wife want to open a bottle of wine, we open a bottle of wine. But like I understand, life's I'm big on balance. I'm big on trade-offs. Like if I choose to, have pizza on a Wednesday night, like we just go a little harder on Thursday. If my week's been really good, I'm still gonna go hard on Thursday. So like, I feel like food is big on I think a lot of comfort comes from food. So like, especially during the season, like food plays a big part. And I think that's where teams maybe like 2, 3 years ago that were like, you have to be all in on this diet. Like this is the only way to do it. And then they start like you're hiring people that are coming from not a baseball background. They're coming from like just with people in the world of nutrition. And then they start to realize like, damn, we just got in at 4 a.m. We just played a 3 game. We hopped on a plane. We went somewhere else. We're back home. Like, what would be great right now? Like Chick-fil-A on the plane. Like let's just, we don't need turkey sandwiches. We don't need turkey wraps. We need Chick-fil-A because we just want to feel good about what we're doing. Uh, we need a little comfort food right now. So it's been nice to see that change over the last couple of years where they start to understand like we're still beings. Like, yes, we want to be fine-tuned like human beings and athletes, but like we still have feelings and sometimes food is a great way of feeling a little bit of comfort, or when you're over 20 and someone's trying to shove a turkey wrap in your mouth, and or you got a couple pizzas or fried chicken waiting for you, like it's a little easier to get over that.
That's hilarious. Best advice you've ever gotten from a coach, from a teammate, from anybody. What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
Understanding that someone's always watching is something that I think kind of always resonated with me. Just I feel like you can. I feel like it's very very easy to get written off in this game. And I'm not going to say I'm perfect by any means. I still have my moments. I've definitely gotten a lot better at it as I've gotten older. I've matured. I've started to care a little bit less about the failure because I've started to understand more about how difficult it is and understand how much work I've put into it. And it's hard to get results every single day. So, like, I know if I'm prepared and, I went out there and I gave it, everything I had that day. And some days it's not going to be much. Some days it's going to be everything I got. Some days it's going to be not as much just due to playing all the time or fatigue or playing through something or mentally a little drained, mentally a little off. Physically my swing could be a little off. But if I know I went out there and I emptied the tank and I didn't get the results, like I live to fight another day, you know. But, just like I said, understand if someone's watching, you don't want I don't want to say a lifetimes of work to be, thrown away with, you not running out a ball or you slamming your helmet in the dugout. And that might be the only time that person will ever see you play. A scout might ever see you play, and that's the lasting image on you. I don't think it's as simple as that. I think you're going to have more opportunities, but like, don't give someone a reason to write you off. Give someone a reason to want to come back and see you play again. Like, hitting a ground ball to shore and just, throwing your bat and jogging down the line is an easy way to get yourself written off. You hit that same ground ball, you try to beat it out. Like, someone, it might not get you drafted, it might not get you to the next level, but it might bring that guy back to watch you one more time and give you an opportunity to showcase your talent. So I would say just remember someone's always watching.
It's a great point. It's a great point. You hear that, um, at a young age. I mean, we do, I've done
And I
the
would say,
US.
I would say like to touch on like kind of like the reason you're doing this too is, someone is always watching. That means at the Division 2 level, that means the Division 3 level, that means the NAI level, that means the junior college level. Like scouts are there. You don't know what they look like all the time. You might get to know them over the course of time, but like there's someone always watching, and it could be his friend who calls the scout and like, damn, this guy could really play at this D2 level. Like, you should probably get out here and watch him. So when I'm saying someone's always watching, that includes, the guys that think they only have to go D1 to get an opportunity. That's all levels, and it's probably even, in high school and even trickling down into travel ball and youth ball now too. So just keep that in mind. It's worth that. It's something I always remind myself too. Is like you get 4 at bats a day, at most levels. Like, is it really that hard to run down the line 4 times? Like, I know it sucks after the third or fourth time hitting a ground ball to short or second or flying out to center field, but like I get caught up in it too sometimes. I try to remind myself that every day. Like, if you're gonna make it out, like you just run down the line. And now everything's like stat casted and hawk-eyed. Like, you can like impress someone with your sprint time down to first base more so than getting a base hit. So keep those things in mind too.
Absolutely.
How is like dealing with adversity? Because you've been through some wild injuries, I would say. Being in the pros and especially with the whole face stuff. And that was a wild time, I expect. So run me through some of the adversity that you've had.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate in my career to stay healthy, up until these really last year. I mean, I don't really consider the face injury like an injury. I mean, it was unavoidable. It was something that I came back from, fairly quick. The shoulders are really the first last year. The shoulders are really the first time I've missed extended period of time playing baseball. Um, so I've been very fortunate to not really have to go through a lot. But the face was definitely. Um, I don't know. I think, there was a lot asked me like, are you going to play again? I'm like, yeah, I was trying to play the next day, and then it was, you need to get your face fixed. Okay. So when can I play after that? Then I had the surgery. It was like 10 days you could play. Okay. So on the 10th day, I said to my, and finally I convinced them to allow me to get back and play. And how are you going to get in the box? I'm like, well, I can't even calculate how many times I've stood in a box in my life from, little league all the way up to the pros. And I've only ever been hit in the face just this one time. So how am I going to allow that to, deter me from getting back in the box? And that was kind of the mindset I had, is like, I've stood in the box for over a million pitches in my career. I can't even name, let's just say 100,000 at bats in my lifetime. I've been in the box. I've been hit in the face one time. Like, for me to like even think twice about getting in the box would be crazy. So that was kind of the mindset I had, was, is my face okay? Did I dodge a bullet? Like, did I get best case scenario? Sure. Was it scary? Yeah. Was it scarier for probably people watching and my wife, my parents, my kids? Sure. But I survived. You know, I got healed and I just got right back. And I felt like the sooner I got back in the box, the sooner I could put it behind me. And like now it's just, I don't even ever think about it.
I love it.
I think the real adversity came this year, like missing an extended period of time and like first time away from, I've had a collarbone injury and I missed like 2 weeks. Like I had like a torn ligament in my thumb. I missed a couple weeks, came back and played, like dealt with it in the off season. I had a broken hand I played with. So I've had some like things happen, but I've never like had a doctor look at me and be like, your season's over. You can't play anymore. There's no way around it. You got to get it fixed. I just saw it as a challenge to come back as soon as possible, and really, I felt like I learned a lot about myself through that journey of pushing my body to the physical in the weight room, and that's all I had to really focus on was my shoulder rehab and getting my body ready to play when my shoulder allowed it to. And I got to take a step back and work on some things in my body and get stronger and get more mobile. And um, I think with adversity comes a lot of good things. I think like I said, I learned a lot about myself through that journey.
Yeah, we tell the kids that, adversity is going to happen, whether it's, a game doesn't go your way or an at bat or, whatever it may be. And, your girlfriend breaks up with you. You just got to find out who you are after those types of things. One thing I will say, though, is the funniest meme I saw about actually you getting hit in the face was, I think LeBron got poked in the eye that night, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
And
I've seen it.
they had a meme that was like, Kevin Pillar gets hit in the face, gets up 10 seconds later. LeBron James down for 5 minutes, gets poked in the eye. And it was like, it was one of the craziest things ever. And that's just, I think, your savage attitude and just, you're a badass. And it's just, I don't think, I think it's awesome that you're going to be back healthy and we're ready to watch you. And it's going to be a fun season, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, like I said too, like I'm facing adversity now. Like, I got a great opportunity in Atlanta, but that opportunity is only as good as I make it. And been preparing hard this off season for an opportunity like this. Um, you know, as much as it's nice to go into camp knowing that you have a job, and I've been fortunate for a good portion of my career to be in that position. But um, I like I said, I still got an opportunity. They're going to give me a jersey. I get to go play spring training games. Like I got an opportunity, and it just kind of reminds me of I have to I go back in the Rolodex and think about the 21-year-old Kevin Pillar, the 18-year-old Kevin Pillar that went in Dominguez Hills and wanted to start as a freshman, or the 21-year-old Kevin Pillar that got sent to Bluefield, West Virginia, as a 32nd round draft pick. Like I never lose that chip. Um, I took the chip away for a little bit because it couldn't be my driving factor all the time. I had to be confident in who I was and what I brought to the table. But It's nice to know that I still got this chip that I can bring out for occasions like this. And more than anything, I'm I truly I think also through my injury this year, being able to like come home and I wouldn't say like I enjoyed my summer. I rehabbed hard. I was at the field all the time, but I got a little bit of a summer. I got to swim in the pool with my kids, and I got a little opportunity to reflect on my career. And if someone would have told me 10, 15 years ago that you'd have almost 9 years of service time in the big leagues, and um, I would say I'd sign up for it. So I honestly feel like I got nothing. I can go into spring training this year. Obviously, I got a lot on the line, but I'm just gonna go enjoy it. I got good advice from a teammate, a former teammate of mine, JP Arancibia. Last year when I found out I wasn't going to make the team for the first time in 8 years, and I had to go to AAA to start the year, and I was like, what the hell do I do? And I know he went through it, and he told me, just have fun, play baseball. The rest will take care of itself, and it did. Unfortunately, I got hurt, but like I'm going to take that same mindset with this new opportunity. I'm going to go in, know that I prepared really hard this offseason. My body's in great shape. But more than anything, I'm just going to have fun playing baseball. I think that's when I'm at my best. I think that when we're at our best is when we're having fun. It gets really hard to think that way at this level because it is a business, and I know like what I'm playing for. I'm playing for $3 million. Like it's not like I it's hard to put that out of your head. Like you make the team, you get $3 million. You don't make the team, you don't get the money. Like that's a really hard thing to do. But like I'm also in a position where if I didn't make it and they sent me home, I got nothing to be ashamed of. I'm happy with my career. That wouldn't I don't know if that would be the end or would it be the end, but like I just understand I'm at peace, and I think that makes me very dangerous going in. That I'm just gonna go have fun and play and see what happens. Know
Yeah,
that I
no, knowing
know
you,
that I'm prepared.
knowing that mindset, I think you're gonna be just fine. I think you're gonna go kick some ass, and it's gonna be a great season. I'm pumped. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'll order my Kevin Pillar jersey for the Atlanta Braves.
I
So
appreciate it.
yeah, I'm excited.
We're going to wrap this up right here, but I want to know just a final remark of what is something that a high schooler can do to put themselves out there that's a self-recruiting tactic that you've either seen or heard that they can do to leverage it on their own.
I mean, I think social media is like a great thing for that now too. Like you can self promote yourself as much as you want on social media. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things you could do now, but um, if in addition to like just self promoting myself, like I feel like every college coach in the nation is reachable now through Twitter or Instagram, and like it wouldn't be beneath me at all to like shoot them a DM or an email and just let them know you're interested in their program and where they can find you, what you're about, and who knows, who you might send 100 out and maybe two respond, but maybe that opens two doors that weren't open before. So I think we live in a great time to you have access to so many things and so many people that I didn't necessarily have when I was playing high school baseball. And I think maybe my journey would have been a little bit different if I did have that. And that could go multiple different directions. Maybe I don't get to where I got to if I went to a different school. I certainly know I don't meet my wife. I met my wife at college, and I got a beautiful family for staying at Dominguez Hills and choosing not to leave. But things could have been things would have definitely things could have been different for me. Better or worse. But I think the world we're living in gives us so much access, and I wouldn't be afraid to use it. I wouldn't necessarily go in there and like beg for a job. I would just talk about, what you're about, who you are, where you play, and there's ways for them to come see you or they can invite you to their camps. But I think there's just so many ways to put yourself out there now.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, and that's why we started this baseball playground, give kids opportunities. We want we showcase kids. We talk about kids that, maybe aren't getting the looks that we think they should. I talk, to a couple, recruiting coordinators and things like that. And they bring up, oh, he's an athlete. And I'm like, well, is he a baseball player? Because I think there's two drastically different things. You have athletes and you got baseball players. And I'm a big believer that, you are a baseball player. You're a guy that grinds it out every day. And yeah, there might be someone that might be a little more athletic, but not many. And they don't, hit the ball, throw the ball the way you do. So we appreciate you being on the podcast. We have our last 3 outs. So these are the toughest questions we have. We ask everybody this. What is your favorite food?
Favorite food? I would just say generically like Mexican food. I mean, I feel like
Love
I
it.
eat that all the time.
Yeah, so not turkey wraps. Got it.
No turkey.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? That's a tough one. I will tell you, I just watched the new Top Gun, and the thing was sweet. So I'll say that right now because I just watched it 2 days ago, and it's fresh in my mind.
Yeah, no, it's an awesome movie. Favorite player?
Current favorite player?
Any
All time.
era, any time, all time, current, in the past, someone you played with, anybody.
Favorite player? Man, it's hard to say. I would say just due to how recent it is, I would say Mookie Betts. I say
Yeah,
watching him, getting to know him, and watching him prepare, and just his size and stature, and just being able to do what he does. So easy and effortlessly to what we see, but I see how much work he puts in, and yeah, I'd say Mookie Betts.
I love it.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Kevin.
It was great. We'll do it again
Thank you,
soon.
Kevin.
See you guys.
You guys, you're the man. Thank you.
See you. Bye.